And then I think, Mr. Finegan, I suppose when reading your contribution first, I respectfully, I suppose, refute the assertion that the committee somehow tellingly has pro-euthanasia contributions that the committee have generally avoided affirming euthanasia restrictions. I think that's unfair to the work of the committee because we haven't affirmed anything. What we've done is to try, and I know I have, explore the boundaries and lengths in which the parameters of the conversation can go to best understand where those safeguards lie in terms of being able to fully examine an issue. So I think it may be premature to say that the committee has affirmed or not affirmed anything in that sense. But what I would like maybe for you to comment on is where you mentioned the intrinsic value of life, and this is something that I keep kind of pondering back to, and I'm wondering, is will and autonomy and agency and those other things that we speak about also an intrinsic value of life? And how do we separate those in terms of, you know, is will an intrinsic value in and of itself, or do we only then place value of it when we look at the consequences of it? So the will to live or the will to die. And I'm wondering, do we oppose somebody's actual intrinsic values of autonomy and agency by separating them out from the intrinsic value of life? So, you know, it goes back to what I think Annie was saying in relation to, you know, not doing one thing because of the consequence of another. And I'm wondering, where will places in that intrinsic value for you?
Thanks, Senator. It's just on the very first point, when I said tellingly no affirmations of restrictions have been made, I had in mind witnesses at committee who are making a case for pro-euthanasia. The issue of will, autonomy, agency as the base for life, I don't think any of those can be the basis for the intrinsic value of human life as understood by human rights documents, for example, because one could have a will and choose and think of themselves as not having value, which happens. You know, it's a huge societal problem. So therefore, because that's so contingent, that can't be the basis. That even if someone thinks that their life doesn't have value, they're tragically mistaken. And they do have value. They have intrinsic, equal, inviolable value in their life. And that's the basis of law since 2,000 years and beyond. And if that's also the basis, the idea of having will or agency, it means that those who, let's say, are very young or who have lost capacity, that would exclude them from having human worth and having human rights protection. It also, from the point of view of healthcare protection, it makes no sense to focus so much on the idea of will and autonomy. Healthcare is about valuing body and health and life. So I think it's a particularly pernicious idea to incorporate into the healthcare system, aside from its general wrongness.